Hello, good evening. It's Danielle here to do a flip through of these patriotic kind of 4th of July-ish Americana type junk journals that I have made. They will be available. I'm shooting for tonight, Tuesday, June 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully this video gets uploaded in a decent amount of time and I'm able to finish the listings in time, but that's what I'm shooting for. If you could just turn the notifications on if you're interested in any of these in my Etsy shop, like the shop, and then you'll get an update when these are listed. But I'm shooting for 9 p.m. So there are 3 different styles, as you can see. One's a little golden book, Pollyanna, a cordite freeze box, and a Better Homes and Gardens new cookbook. So we'll kind of go through each of them. I'm hoping to do them all in one video, but if it starts getting long, I'll split it up so it doesn't take too long to load them. So let me first start with the Pollyanna. And I just took some vintage gift tie or hair bow tie and made a little tie closure here. And I did put book corners on this book. Most of you that have ordered have said that you wanted book corners anyhow, and these corners were really soft, so I went ahead and put it on there. The original price tag was 25 cents, and this one, the book is, the copyright is 1960, I believe. Yes, 1960, and it was in pretty rough shape. This story doesn't actually go along with what I used this book for. I just loved the cover. But I'll send the book pages with the book. So I did coat the front cover so it's sealed, and you can tell. One time I'll show you what I used. It's really amazing. I don't even remember what the name of it is, but you wouldn't be able to tell that it's sealed because it's a spray. So it feels really nice, and you could wipe it down if you wanted to. So I did the back also. And then I used a quilt top for the fabric on the spine, as well as some of the fabric inside the book. It's a typical golden book, 6 by 8 approximately, and I think this one had a 2 1/4 inch spine, but the listing will tell you the details. It does have 3 signatures. So we'll kind of take a look inside. The inside is lined with vintage wallpaper. It's like a vinyl-y wallpaper, and this is some faux stitching around the edge of the wallpaper, and my machine messed up a little bit right here, so I just made a little cluster to go over that. Excuse me. I didn't want to put a pocket here because I would cover up the branding part of the wallpaper, and I thought that was pretty neat, so I left that there. But you can continue to collage or put a pocket over it if you don't like that. And there's a vintage yo-yo here, a vintage greeting card. A lot of the labels that I used in these junk journals, I'll try to point out what is authentic vintage and what is a printable. I found a shop on Etsy, and then one of them has a printable from KBandFriends, but this shop is called TremblaysLetterpress, and the store had really amazing, like, patriotic type printables, and I found some paper that feels like label paper, and I printed it out on that, and I'll kind of zoom in on this one so you can see. I think you would be hard pressed to know. There's some glue on here. Hard pressed to know that that it was actually a label. Got some little glue spots on here. I'll have to get my little eraser out and get that off, but that'll come off. There we go. So you can tell that it printed really, really nicely, but I do want you to know it is a printable, as many of them are in here. I wanted to use a lot of vintage labels and kind of give the feeling of like American industry type things that also kind of coordinated with the theme and the colors. And then this is a vintage greeting card. I thought it would be cute if you had like a service member or something and you were missing them. It's kind of a cute card. Some ledger paper, a vintage stamp, and a little price ticket that is a printable. And this is like a little kind of canvas flag. There are a few little canvas patches in these journals. There's, you know, blank pages for you to do what you'd like. There's a little vintage sewing pattern image here that could be made into a tag or a flip out or a tuck spot. And this is a fabric pocket that was made from that same quilt top. And this is a label that I just stitched to there and put some trim across. Some stationery and a milk cap. Just did some trim and rickrack here, and another stationery piece. This is from a vintage sewing pattern catalog, and an ice cream Betty Crocker recipe card, a vintage recipe card. This is a post-a-note or post-a-let or fold-a-note. I think this was current, and I just thought it was cute because it looks like a picnic and summer type theme. Some ruffles. This is a replica. I think I got these at a flea market a long time ago. And some vintage trim here. And then I used some of the quilt top to make some tags. Another replica postcard. This is a vintage ice cream bag. The other part of that post-a-let. Some trim. And this is, I think this is some resume paper, I believe. And then I also used, these are not printables. This is an image from, I used a lot of images from this Live It Again 1942 book. It's really neat. It has a lot of really neat images about the year of 1942. So a lot of World War II stuff. Just neat, you know, neat illustrations. So I took a lot of images from that and just backed them onto some cardstock. Again, you can use them as tags, flip outs, or tuck spots. This is, I believe this was from a magazine. I have some magazine images in here too. Another printable label, and you can kind of tell what I mean. It's got the sheen like the true vintage labels, and the back is pretty matte. So it printed out really, really nicely. If you want to get those printables, I would check that shop out. And then a bottle cap that we made in last night's video, if you didn't see that. And another little label. This is a vintage Raggedy Ann and Andy card. I loved the colors with that. This is a printable shoot. I don't remember. I'll have to look up where this one's from. It is a printable from Etsy, though. If anybody's interested in knowing where it is, let me know in case I forget to put it in the description box. But it's some ladies carefully washing a flag, and I really love that printable. This is like some wrapping paper type material. It's pretty thin wrapping paper, but it's matte. It's really nice. I think it'd be nice to collage on. And then this is just from a magazine, some ephemera, another tag from a sewing pattern catalog, and another greeting card. I did a little cluster here with a flag. Oh, what is this called? My mind goes blank sometimes when I go on these videos. Applique. And then just another recipe card. Here I took some flocked gingham fabric. I don't know if you can tell that it's flocked. And some more of that trim and some rickrack, and just made a pocket. And there's some things tucked in here. Again, this is a printable. This is a vintage recipe, and I don't know how vintage this is. It's probably newer vintage. It doesn't have a date, but it's a cute little post-a-let. If you wanted to cut the images out and use them separately, you could, you know, you have lots of little images to play with there. And a popcorn bag and a price ticket. This is a vintage price ticket. Another label and playing card, another printable. This license bingo I thought that would be fun because it's the different states. And then these little stamps. This is authentic vintage. Here I did a flip out. I think this one was from an Ideals magazine, and it's just a poem with a really pretty tablecloth. And again on the back, kind of going with theme. And then we have another paper clip that we made. I don't know if we made this one last night or if I did it, but there's just a little bottle cap paper clip. And then this is the tuck spot. This is from an Ideals magazine, and it's just a quote or a little, I guess you would call it a poem or a writing here. It's pretty neat. And there's just some little flag embellishments, another printable, and a Viewmaster. This is also a printable. The Viewmaster is authentic vintage. And then so is this soda water label. And this is a vintage coaster. I just kind of folded it over and made it a tab. This is a vintage postcard. All of these guys had some of that tape on the side. I don't know. There we go. Some of the old tape that we all like to try to replicate. And some vintage fabric. Another yo-yo. And some vintage wallpaper. This is some flocked wallpaper. Some stationery and vintage stamps. Raggedy Ann. And then this is a ledger from a ship. It's kind of a neat one. And another card, greeting card. This one I used a bigger flag applique and made another pocket. And just some goodies tucked in here. And another sewing pattern page. This is a tuck spot here. This side I accidentally glued down, so only this side is a tuck spot. Lots of postage stamps. I did a little cluster here. Some ruffles. Made a tag of this little poem type entry. And that brings us to the end. Lots of room for you to add to it and make it your own. And we will quickly keep moving through. Let's see if we can get through both of these. So this is the smaller one. This is the cordite freeze box. And it has such a really cool feeling because these are kind of waxy almost. And it has a pretty big spine, I think. Let me see. It's about 2 1/4 inches. And then the box is quart size, so it measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. It also has 3 signatures and also the same yarn tie. Here I just collaged a little sewing girl on here and tucked it in the front. Same wallpaper, some rickrack, another applique, some postage stamps. Again, some more printables. This is from, I think, that book that I showed you. It says, "Hey sis, your ship is in." And another little bottle cap. Yahtzee game. Cluster. Out of the same. This is from that book. And the women washing the flag. Another kind of Ideals patriotic themed. And that same fabric, the flocked fabric, and I just did some ruffling at the top here. And all of them will come with this playing card. So if I didn't use it in there, I'm going to try to make sure the extras come with that playing card. I think I forgot to put it in the other journals, but another one of those canvas flags. and a nickel, another vintage price ticket, playing card, library card, some more. This is kind of like that wrapping paper texture, and ledger, popcorn bag. This is another printable label. And that postulette there. This is a printable, and this is some vintage seam binding label. And the vintage Viewmaster. Here I just took some more of those canvas pieces and put USA there. Some apple pie recipe. These are some, I don't think they're super vintage. They might be 80s, maybe 90s, current. All of those kind of ones. I have some of those to put in the extras. I don't have a ton of extras for these because I just don't have endless kind of red, white, and blue themed things, but I do have a few things to send you. And this is from a vintage quilt top I made into a tag, a little vintage sewing girl, some more of that flocked fabric. This is a true vintage label. I will say this one I accidentally put 2 popcorn bags in, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I wanted you to know I accidentally sewed 2 popcorn bags in. This is another printable label, and this one we made on camera, and then another Ideals piece, pocket here, some vintage fabric. These are printables, and another pocket. Sewing pattern lady. All the sewing patterns are authentic vintage. They are not printables. And that brings us to the end of the freeze box. So let's see if we can get through the Better Homes and Gardens new cookbook. This one, I just used some of this really pretty blue floral fabric to tie it. And I took some of the quilt top and put it on the spine. There's rickrack on the back, and there is a fabric ruffle on the front using the quilt top. And this one you can kind of see it does have wear to the cover there, but it just kind of gives it its character, I think. Same thing, I used the wallpaper on the inside. This is a vintage, from a vintage sewing simplicity catalog. And a lot of the same elements. There's, in each of them there will be a library, or a part of a building in Washington, D.C. vintage postcard. That's a little charm for that one. Again, from that 1942 book. I think that these would be really, this is a replica, and I just did a tab with a little applique and some rickrack up there. I think these would be really cute, especially this one for like a military mother or a military wife or a woman in the military, you know, any kind of family member, military. I think this would be really amazing. And I was even thinking, like, if you were a military wife, you could, everywhere you were kind of stationed, you could document and maybe turn it into like a recipe book from the different areas, some of your favorite foods and that kind of thing. You really don't have to use this as a recipe book. There are a lot of things in here that have nothing to do with cooking, so it's kind of more like a home, like a housewives book more than a cooking book. I mean, there's like sewing in here and, you know, stationery, lots of different things. So, but that was kind of the idea that I had, like, that would be a really cool keepsake for somebody to make. Anyway, back to the flip through. This one's American style corn, and some more stationery, more of those stickers, current stickers, just some little ephemera. This I just made into a little tag, and you can tuck something under the back. And this is from that book. A lot of the pages in the binder fold out like that, but you'll tell a lot of the same elements, just slightly different. And some vintage stamp washi here. Here I took a Simplicity pattern envelope and just kind of refurbished it. It was in a little bit of bad shape, so I kind of did some doctoring up and covered some of the rips with some fabric washi, and this is a little stamp I just used to decorate. Put a little glitter applique star here and some more fabric washi. It does have a name on it, but you can use it as a little pocket. And a vintage ice cream label and recipe card. This is a really neat, this is from the original cookbook. It's kind of like a red, white, and blue themed kitchen. Same with this, I thought it was very, very neat. This is from an Ideals magazine. And then on the back, it's got a little, you know, writing from Ideals. I don't know if these are all considered poems or what. Then there's a first day of issue envelope here. And a milk cap. Another one of those flocked fabric pockets and just some things tucked inside. This is an image from that 1940s book. Same with this. And a printable label. Made a little tag out of this star fabric and a little piece of the quilt top. This is the printable from KBandFriends, so I just wanted to point that out. And then that same Women Washing the Flag printable. And this is an image from that book I made into a pocket here. Super cute images. I cut out a Jello box from a vintage magazine and made it into a little tuck spot with this divider. It's American Classics. And it just has like a little blurb on the back, but I thought you could put, if you didn't want to keep it like this, you could put paper on the back and write a recipe on the back of it. Or put it on another page and make it a tuck spot. I know I've been talking to a lot of people lately that tell me that they don't really write in their junk journals. So that was a kind of eye-opening to me and made me realize, like, well, maybe I should be including more pockets and tuck spot areas in the journals I make for other people. I would love your feedback in the comments if you want to let me know if you write in your journals or not. That would really help me out so I know kind of what people are doing with them so I can better make them for the uses that are out there. So anyway, this is a cookbook page. I cannot remember where this cookbook page came from. I think it was from I'm pretty sure it was from a holidays cookbook, vintage holidays cookbook, but you can tell it's 4th of July. It's got the little flags. And I'll show you the other half of the page is really cute. Here's a vintage bottle cap that I flattened. And just another cookbook page. Here I did the same thing. This could be a tag, a tuck, or a flip. I took some sewing pattern ladies from my catalog and just added this little applique type canvas thing here. So it could be kind of universal. And then this is the other half of that cookbook page. So you can see it's stars and stripes supper. And then a lot of the recipes, actually all the recipes for these are on there. So skyrocket relish bowl. Thought that was cute. And then the vintage coaster and wallpaper. This is the replica. I think this is a replica postcard. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same brand. And then another image from the book, as well as this and this. So another first issue. This is a stamp. It's kind of embossed, canceled stamp. And then a vintage yo-yo. This is a vintage current note card I thought was cute. Another recipe. This is, I don't know, I was gonna look this up and I don't remember. but I have some military, or I don't know how much of it I still have left, but I had some military badges and ephemera that a friend gave me. Kind of a long story, but she rescued it from the garbage. Actually, it wasn't in the garbage, but the person was going to throw it away, and so she took it. I think she actually purchased it, but anyway, she gave it to me and said, I think you can do something with this. I just didn't want the guy to throw it out. So anyway, so this is some sort of military badge, I believe. I mean, it was with a bunch of other military things. I was going to look it up and I forgot. And then the license bingo, another sewing tag flip tuck spot with another little applique sticker. And then this one, this is from a magazine, a vintage magazine, and I love the shape of it. I was going to make it into a tag, and if you purchase this journal and you want me to make these, there are a few that I left not backed in case you want to like collage with them on the page. But if you want me to make it into a tag and stitch around it, I'm more than happy to do that. But I just thought it was really neat. It almost looks like they were going to a military ball and has all the perfect coloring. I think that was from a National Geographic magazine. Another one of those postalettes. This is from the book. Another Ideals bingo card, another tag, postcard. This one's authentic vintage. And then a Yankee Doodle Dandy advertisement. A little lady holding up her U.S. Defense Bond. I just made her into a little tuck spot. And a vintage pattern lady. This is a replica vintage postcard. Another pocket that I did some collaging on. And then, oh, this is the bottom of, where did that go? This advertisement. So it was for the Cadillac. That's what they were advertising. So I just stuck that in there in case you want to fussy cut it out and add it to one of the pages. Is another, so on the fold out, a lot of them are tuck spots, and I just wanted to stick something in there so that you knew it was a tuck spot, so you can put something there, and then it also flips out, so you get lots of space. And then I did put a cordite freeze box in here. I just used the front and back cover and glued these down to make a little pocket here, so you could have one of those in there. Some stamps here with a little fabric washi. And we got to the end of that one. So again, Tuesday the 27th, hopefully at 9 o'clock if this loads quickly enough. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you would mind liking and subscribing to my channel, it would really help me out. I'm trying to grow my channel so that I can do more and teach you guys more, that sort of thing. So any feedback is greatly appreciated, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.